Hi guys, Gon here, back here with another video. Hopefully this will become a full-on series on my channel, but today I'll be reviewing part 1 of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Now part 1 does lots of things right, but also does some things badly, and I'll get into both of those. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
My heart's beating faster, I know what I'm after. I've been standing here my whole life, everything I've seen twice. Now it's time I realize it's spinning back around now. On this road I'm crawling.
Now first of all, let me just say, if you've not seen JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, there are some major spoilers to part 1, so please kick out the video. So spoiler alert, and without any further ado, let's just get in the video. Okay guys, so for this review I'll be separating all the different categories, from the characters to how I think the pacing and the story goes, and also to the animation. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the characters. Now I find that lots of the characters in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure are very likable. All of them get short but sweet backstories. And some of the characters, which I'll get into later on, get really wasted throughout the series. Like for instance, Speedwagon is a character that when he got introduced, I fell in love with him. He had a great introduction as this kind of robber person who's had to live on the streets on his own. He was really strong, and then afterwards he got his appearance. He started talking about how he knows Dio's evil, and afterwards he didn't do anything for the rest of the whole series. And not even part 1, he got wasted in part 2 and died in part 3. I mean, like, I expected more from my boy Speedwagon. The main protagonists, Jonathan Joestar and Dio, they're both extremely likable, and that rivalry is easily the best part of part 1. As both of their characters, you know where they're coming from, you get to see their backstories. Dio wants to really just become better than Jonathan and really take over his family, and after he puts the mask on, he really just becomes consumed with hatred. And Jonathan just wants to become the heir to his family, and when his father dies, afterwards he just really wants to make his father proud and take down Dio. And lots of the supporting characters also done very well. For instance, Arena, which is Jonathan's girlfriend, she's very likable as a character. They really made it lots of things, and one of my favorite characters, Popo. Popo is a character, he's a really young boy, but we got one short backstory, and in that backstory, it made us all fall in love with his character. And now that is just absolutely amazing. So, in Popo's backstory, we got to see how his week is being bullied, and afterwards we get to see his character move on. We get to see some insane character development, as in this one short couple of hours, he's had to experience really being just possessed, and afterwards having the really distress of everything relying on him. And afterwards he really becomes brave, he steps up and he changes as the character, and he goes in that small passageway to try and save Jonathan. Another character which I really fell in love with, which is actually my favourite character of part 1, is Zeppeli. Now Zeppeli is easily, in my opinion, part 1's best made character, because Zeppeli gets a great introduction just like Speedwagon, but he stays interesting throughout the whole of the show, as he acts as a mentor to Jonathan Joestar, and he teaches him how to use Hamon, this energy which runs through nature, which is a source to beating Dio. And afterwards we get to see his character later on, just before he dies, just like old anime. We get to see his backstory, we get to see why he's doing what he does, and we get to see really a beginning point, a middle, and an end to his character arc. And his death was really shocking, as he died, but he accomplished what he was doing. So that was a death which really reminded me of Jiraiya's death. So overall, character-wise, I find that some characters are great. Lots of the the least important characters, really just, they don't really get much screen time at all. For instance, people such as Jonathan's dad really just feel a bit bland in the story. And Speedwagon characters that really just get forgotten. But overall, I'll give it a solid 7.5 when it comes to characters. And now onto the second category, which is the story / the pacing. Now, first of all, talk about the story. The story, as I've said in my why you should watch JoJo's video, which I suggest you should watch, I said that the story is very good. It takes place throughout the whole, history about these two families, Jonathan and then Dio's family, and it's a very good story. I mean, first of all, we get to see Jonathan's story, then afterwards in part 2, we get to see Joseph's story, and then it continues on throughout the generations. And having that time skip, really unlike most anime, makes it feel unique. Each part has their own sense of just belonging, which is really great for an anime. And the whole story, of course, revolves around the mask, which turns people into vampires. And you have to take, each generation have to take down the person who's wielding the mask. And onto the pacing. Now, JoJo's pacing is a bit controversial, as for the first 2 episodes, it started off amazing. I mean, the first episode probably has the best pacing of any anime episode, in my opinion. It starts off, we get to see the backstory, we get to see Jonathan, his motivations, why he's doing it, and a confrontation against Dio. Now, this is just insane, because in another anime, it might take up to 5, even 10 episodes just to get everything it shows in part 1. But unlike those other anime, it doesn't feel rushed at all. Everything's at a great pace. Part 2, we've got like a 7-year time skip, I believe, and we've got Dio and Jonathan who are finally getting ready to put their plans into motion. After episode 2, the pacing goes down a bit, which is great. I mean, the first part of part 1 does a great job all the way, I would say, to when Jonathan beats Dio. After that, the pacing is just not that good, as everything feels too rushed. It's a slow pacing, but events happen too fast. For instance, in the last episode on the ship, you knew something's going to be bad, but it happened too fast. It would have been good, for instance, if Irina had told Jonathan, hey, I'm pregnant or something like that. And afterwards, you know, events started to kick in, because everything just felt so fast and so crammed with information. It's just a bit too much for just one episode. I mean, some of the character deaths, for instance, Zeppeli's comrades, they had some pretty bad character development, I'm gonna admit it. They do get better along as a story. But I find that, for instance, the person who died, I forgot his name, but if he'd had his like backstory of why he's doing a flashback or anything, it would have made Dio killing him more emotional and really just shown how this affected Jonathan and make the audience hate Dio more, which is what they've been trying to do the whole series. Since Dio isn't supposed to be a good guy, he's supposed to be hated, and I hate him to death. And now onto the third part, is the animation, and I also include music in here as well, but the animation is just so good. The animation is so colorful, it's so unique. All the character designs are different, apart from the occasional bland scenery. Everything is really just animated brilliantly. At the moment, it's even better than the last episode of Boruto, because characters are always moving. They don't just feel like characters. For instance, it doesn't mean that there's never really a still shot when characters aren't moving at all. Everything's always fluent. The voice acting in both dub and sub is absolutely insane, and the soundtracks are just brilliant. And the openings. I have no words. If you want to know how good it is, just ask Adam Pro, the greatest JoJo tuber. But the openings, everything, it hits perfection. And it makes 2 of one of my favorite openings of all time. But anyway, I've got soundtracks a bit there. The animation is pretty good. I really like how all the characters have their own unique color palette. Everyone feels unique, and you can tell each Jonathan from the other, as everyone feels very, very different. The voices are different. Like, everyone has their own kind of unique mark, such as Speedwagon has kind of that mark all across his nose. Jonathan's got his weird kind of hairstyle. Irina, she's got his super blue eyes. You know, Dio's got his strange suit. Everyone just looks different, and it's very entertaining. JoJo's in all is a pretty frantic, fast-paced, fun anime. And also, as I said, the OSTs are good. But overall, if I had to rate JoJo's Bizarre Adventure as a whole of part 1, I'd probably rate it an 8.2 out of 10. Because as there is lots of these highs, there's also lots of lows. For instance, characters like Speedwagon get wasted. There's also lots of backstory which could have been given but just wasn't. For instance, of Zeppeli's friends, and also Zeppeli's death. As it was very good, it could have been better. But anyway, guys, that's just my opinion. It's just subjective, so if you disagree, that's fine. But I'll hopefully have my review up on part 2 soon, as I'm almost finished part 2. And guys, part 2 is so much better than part 1. In fact, I even recommend starting part 2 before you watch part 1. I mean, it's just that good. If you want to get someone hooked on JoJo, show them episode 10. Well, as always, guys, that was HeyJugon. Make sure to like, comment down below what you'd like me to do next, and subscribe. So that was HeyJugon. Peace out.
羽ばたいたら戻らないと言って目指したの